That's next up.
He's actually speaking a lot louder in the United States, but Canada, this is coming down the pipeline, and it's coming down the pipeline fast, and we need to act.
Now, let me just put it blatantly to you. The program targets the birth of new babies. So once you have your baby, before your baby leaves the hospital, you no longer get a paper birth certificate, but then you get a digital one that is somehow implanted somewhere on somebody's body.
The digital ID.
The Kenyan president is sold his people out. We already showed you that, but let's just finish.
Which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID.
Bill Gates is at it once again. Yep, this time he's in Kenya. You know, he's always testing in Africa, testing.
That's next up.
He's actually speaking a lot louder in the United States, but Canada, this is coming down the pipeline, and it's coming down the pipeline fast.
Pay attention to the implications of the great disruptions that are going to take place. Because the world will be radically different in 5 years. And it's going to go year by year, become radically different. Next elections, the debt situation, all of these things are going to change. And then with the new technologies, we're going to go, it's like going through a time warp. We're going to be in a different world, okay?
These systems, if they're implemented properly, will result in a new world.
Going through a time warp. We're going to be in a different world, okay?
A world in which things will be different for everybody, different for banks, different for mobile money companies, different for people.
You think this is...
Pay attention to the implications of the great disruptions.
A world in which things will be different for everybody, different for banks, different for mobile money companies, different for people.
Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakar, Kwadash. Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ. The Rakar, Kwadash is the Holy Spirit in the Paleo-Hebrew. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well through the Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Lord willing, they can continue to endure and be sincere. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching His word and believing His word in the same Spirit. Lord willing, that they can continue to endure and be sincere. Right? And shalom to the Akwathium that are believers of the faith. Lord willing, you can continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. The fall will be tremendous. The fall will be tremendous, right? And I want to go to Revelation chapter 17, verse 12 and 13. I'm going to read them both, KJV and the NLT. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast." Right? That beast is Rome, right? Is Rome all over again, right? Let me get a side precept to show it. Going to Revelations again, but Revelations the 13th chapter, we're going to go to verse 3, right? It says, Revelations 13 and 3, and it says, "I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast," right? And this beast, right, is Rome. Rome was wounded, but it healed. When you go to verse 1, it says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy," because those are 10 foundations of, this Roman Empire, which consumes NATO and EU, right? Which you even see in the book of Daniel, because in the time of ancient Rome, right, they established, their alliance, but it started first, well, with the Greeks, right? And, before things get established, it has to grow. It's levels to this, right? And the whole point is world government, right? And when you go into the government, it goes into the word control, right? And Rome was controlling especially people when it came to tax. Then you had the Greeks putting people under control, trying to be one people. This is something I bring out all the time. First Maccabees chapter 1, which is going to happen all over again, but a higher level, right? We're in a technology empire, right? This is one of the greatest, wickedest kingdom, right? This is a great wicked kingdom, if we could say better. This is a great wicked kingdom because of technology, right? Its weapons is more advanced than any other captivity before its time, right? But even in the time when Rome was wounded, they didn't have this type of power, but they had better power than all the other empires before, right? And now that it healed, it's coming with a mightier force, right? With missiles, with guns, with bombs, smoke grenades, right? And they have medical, something that can mess you up, airborne, right? This right here is a great wicked empire, right? So we seen verse 3. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 17, verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, right? Which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, right? It's just a moment, a brief time, a brief reign, right? They're really allies, right? Right now, these 10 horns, the NATO and EU, and even the 7 heads, which is the 7 head foundations of Esau. Salaki, Rome, Britain, France, Rome, Britain, France, Greek, Germany Major, Germany Minor, and did I say the French? I said the French. Salaki family. I can't. You best believe I'm gonna get this before. Oh man, sometimes you gotta always have that reminder right there near you. Okay, because I'm always making sure my notes is my notes. Salaki family, I'm trying to make sure I give you the correct answer, right? Because I do not want to give you guys a lie, right? So so I forgot Spanish, so I'm gonna say the 7 again. It's Greeks, Britain, Germany Major, Germany Minor, the Spanish, French, and Rome. I'm gonna say it again, right? The seven heads that's with this whore, right? Because when you go to Revelation chapter 17, verse 1, of course, the same chapter, verse 1, it says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 veil and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, right? Many nations, or many nations and languages, right? Basically people, right? It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, what we just read, having 7 heads and 10 horns, right? The 7 heads is Greeks, Britain, Germany Minor, Germany Major, Spanish, French, and Rome. Even more, how do you think certain technology, as in the nukes, right? Which we see in Isaiah 54:16. The smith and the waster, the Lord create, right? You have to know back in Project Paperclip, America had freaking allies, or they took certain Nazis and they became a part of their science, their engineering crew, right? Things that would make destruction, nukes, or bring in plagues, sickness, right? Because they teaming, right, which is really the Germans, they're the wise one out of Esau, right? So then, if we was to go to the 10 horns, to talk about the EU, when we look in 1955, the European Economic Community, EEC, established in 1958, right? Today, the EEC will be known as the EU, the European Union, right? And, some of the names, right, they could be mixed up, but it's Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, and West Germany, right? You have to understand these things, right? So yeah, let's go back down to verse 12. Lord willing, y'all caught all of that, and all you got to do is just rewind and hear the names, right? Go look them up for yourself, right? It says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, right? And that just goes to them being allies, being connected, because this is going to help move that MOTB, that charagma, which, hey, don't listen to somebody that's telling you it's spiritual or sin. This charagma, this physical mark that you see in Revelation, the 13th chapter, verse 16 to 17 and 18, and Revelations 14 and 11, and Revelations 20 and 4, is a physical mark in order for you to buy and sell and be a citizen in this place, right? So reading it in the NLT, it says, the 10 horns of the beast are 10 kings who have not yet risen to power. They will be appointed to their kingdoms for one brief moment to reign with the beast, right? And their moment is right now, but it's gonna fully be in effect when this MOTB come, right? That moment can be short, right? Verse 13, they will all agree to give him their power and authority, right? And then eventually it's going to usher in where the nations will be mad, right? And want to bump up against this horde, right? They're going to be mad and they're going to bump up against this horde, right? I think you slide over to the 18th chapter. Hold on, I want to show you. When you go to Revelations 18 and 3, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine, the philosophy, right? That Rome philosophy, the Rome movement, that money scheme, the taxing, right? It says, of the wrath of her fornication. Sidebar, you just seen what Kenya was they're moving on doing something digital, right? They want to do the digital ID, which is going to go into that MOTB, that physical mark, right? Nations are going to follow suit to this, right? But it's going to be a worldwide movement, right? So the wine of her wrath of her fornication, the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, right? And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, right? The fornication is in all angles, but the fornication when it comes to this philosophy and how to be enemies towards first the children of Yahweh Shem Al Shai and all these other nations, right? Because they're dabbling into this technology. They're dabbling into this TikTok, this Facebook, how to make money this way, how to do that way, how to do things in the black market, right? I want to get the one where it says, okay, I'll go back up to verse 5. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she have filled, fill to her double. It goes with Jeremiah 51. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. Right? America lived delicately, right? They thought they couldn't be touched. They thought that they was the shit nads, right? But eventually Yahweh Shema Shai is going to give that sign, right? And they're going to be put in a situation. You know what they call a situationship. They're going to be put in a situation, right? It says, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow, shall see no pain, no mourning, right? But that's the pride in this place, starting with, because it's Esau that's ruling. And that's just the same example when you go to Nebuchadnezzar. You know, when Daniel tell Nebuchadnezzar to humble yourself, glorify the Lord. And what did he do? He glorified himself and said, hey, look at this kingdom that I built, right? This is just, it's the pride. It's not the pride of the place. It's the pride of the rulers that be, right? It says, therefore shall their plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, God who judgeth her, right? Because it's the Lord that bring these things upon people or upon this place, right? So the more things escalate when this election come, you got people, this one kid got yelled at. It's a girl and I think a boy got yelled at by their parents for talking about that they not voting. Or one said that they voting for Trump, they not voting for the girl or whatever need be. But this is how you know they get you stuck in this system. And that's that philosophy or that fornication, but it brings you back to Rome, right? The Senate, right? Let alone Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter, verse 15, don't make a stranger your king. And a president is a king, right? Right now, these new rulers have new names, right? They don't call themselves Caesars, king, emperor, right? They want to call themselves president, senate, right? But really, it's the higher elites that's controlling the money who are the true rulers of this place. Verse 9, it says, the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, right? People are going to lament. But I thought I was going to see Salaki family. Let me look on behind the scenes and let me look for this verse that I'm thinking of in my head. Oh my goodness, family. Just forgive me. I thought I was prepared. My other phone acting funny. Let's just go because I kind of did quote this. Let's get this one in Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. And if the other one come to mind, I'll double back and bring it out. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right now, before I get into the nations are mad, Babylon at a time had a big rulership, but it didn't have the whole earth drunk, right? And this Babylon is talking about America that has the four corners of the earth drunk, off of their philosophy, their ideology, right? That LGB 123 Sesame community, right? The nations are mad, right? And they're mad. The nations are mad, and guess what? They're gonna drop nukes here, right? Especially starting with Russia, right? And we see the example. We see the example, especially in Revelation, the 18th chapter, where this place is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. But then you go to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Brothers, misspoke on that and think that's in the kingdom. But Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, verse 10, eventually it will happen where that evil thought will come on Russia, right? Let me see, Ezekiel 38, verse 10. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, right? Because it's going to be the Lord that's going to put an evil thought in the people of Russia, right? The people of Russia, or really the rulers, they're going to be given an evil thought, and they're literally gonna push that button. They're gonna push that button on them, right? And it's gonna be over. America's gonna be destroyed in 60 minutes, right? And right now the nation's got y'all distracted on the diddler, right? Come on, he deserved what he's getting, right? But you have to be able to look at the bigger picture. This digital thing, school shootings, or younger kids is bringing guns. You got Bill Gates keep talking about a new vacky, right? Women are pushed to seem like they're higher than a man, or they higher value than a man. But that's just this American mindset pushing women that way. But if you leave America, women not thinking like these women, unless they come to America and get westernized. But this place is just a money scheme. And it's the main people that are consumers are the poor Jake, the Israelites that's over here, and every other nation that's technically not Israelites is feeding off the Lord's people, right? Sucking them dry, And you got certain celebrities that speak on this digital. You got Jaguar Wright. You had Eddie Griffin. You got certain celebrities speaking out, Kanye West, Irvin. A lot of them they're not in this truth, but the Lord is allowing them, especially for the platform that they have, to speak on these things, right? Now, before they probably wasn't as much as they is now, but the Lord is doing a big revealing, not on the side of Cat Williams, but before, when slavery came, when it was, racism, KKK was walking down the street, the world wasn't being open as much as it is right now. Yes, people were saying the Lord, they were saying certain parts, the birth of a nation, but the truth haven't grew to the level that it is now. It really started in like the 1950s or late 1950s going into the 1960s, and the knowledge increased, right? So that's another thing going into something that I had quoted the other day about, we got to remember that this is a privilege being in Yahweh Shem Shai's truth, right? So going back to Revelations, the 17th chapter, in verse 12, where it says, and the 10 horns which thou saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as king 1 hour with the beast, right? Basically for a brief moment, right? Let's get Revelations 12 and 3, right? This is Revelations 12 and 3. And every lesson I do for anybody that could scoff or do what they do, the shenanigans, this is only for the elect, the ones that believe, the ones that truly believe, the Black, Latinos, and natives. And usually Latinos could be called Hispanics too, right? This is only for y'all. And literally, it's only the elect out of the 12 tribes that's going to get it, right? Romans 11 and 7, or Romans 11 verse 5 to 7, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, chapter 4 verse 3 and 4, everybody else is going to be blind, right? This is only for the elect, people that's sincere, that want to grow. And if that's you, dissect it and pay attention as much as you can. I know that I'm moving, but it should all line up to the ones that get it, right? But Revelations 12 and 3, right? So when we was talking about the beast earlier, this beast is the so-called Edomites, right? This is Revelations 12 and 3. It says, there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon first. It was one that was directly called red, which is Esau, right? Red, or wasted away, but Esau going to reddish, right? But that's Genesis 25, verse 22 down, right? And you can understand that that's Esau that is red, right? And dragon represents serpent, right? Because a dragon is a serpent, a lizard is a serpent, right? So this dragon is not a literal dragon, This dragon, if the Lord is growing you into understanding, you'll know that this dragon is representing Esau, because when you read in the beginning, it's kind of going towards Herod, right? Because as a double whammy, when John was writing these things, Rome was still in a power seat. And a lot of the apostles and the true teachers of Yahweh Shem Shai spoke of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai and spoke of the children of Israel, because later in this chapter, you see that the children of Israel get swallowed by the earth, or swallowed by the land, really, of Africa. It's not going to say Africa because it wasn't called Africa, right? But the land swallowed them, but it was the people, because we look like Egyptians, we look like Africans because of the skin texture, right? We could change clothes and blend in, right? And they swarmed a flood, but it was an army flood. You'll read in the scripture, it says flood. But when you go back and read in history, during 70 AD, when the temple got destroyed, Israel fled back towards Egypt and going through the African mountains and basically rested for a time. And then later on, the Lord rose up a fierce nation, right? When you go into like Deuteronomy 28, you'll understand that the Lord sent a fierce nation unto you from far, right? And what they did is, when Rome fell, and then the blacks start gaining rulership, which is the black or the dark ages, right? We started to rule certain places where Esau and these heathens touched, right? But then we fell like we always do, because we wasn't fully being dedicated to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. He raised up Esau again, but it was just prophecy just to usher in where we at right now, right? So again, Revelations 12 and 3, it says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, this is Esau, having 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his head, right? This is very plain. Now, we could go into the word red, we can go into the word dragon, we can go into mad precepts, but if we were already reading Revelation 7, and then even more, I'm going to go to Daniel, the 7th chapter, right? Because it just said in that 3rd verse, it says, having 7 heads, and we read 7 heads already, right? If anybody truly was paying attention, right? Greek, Britain, Germany minor, Germany major, Spanish, French, and Rome, and 10 horns, which is Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, and West Germany, and 7 crowns upon his hands, right? They're just ruling, right? Under, the higher elites of the nation of Esau, right? So let's actually go to the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Soon this will all fall, right? Let's go to Daniel chapter 7 and let's read verse 7. It says, after this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, right? Because the first one was Babylon, then you have the Persian Medes, then you have the Greeks, and then it's Rome, which is the fourth, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, right? And it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns, right? Because Rome overtook the other empires before, right? And even when the Greeks was growing in power, Rome was establishing theirs, and they wasn't giving nobody cuts. It was a time, even if the time of like Spartacus, in the time when they went on they was killing people, but they would prolong your death, and they would crucify people for 60 mile all the way to Rome. So the crucifixion been around in Rome. It just didn't happen when Yahushua was here. It been around, right? Now verse 8, it says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, which this is pushing forward, the time of America. That little horn is America. You have another little horn in the 8th chapter of Daniel, and that's going into Antiochus Epiphanes, right? The Greeks, right? But before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. You can go look this up. The French, the Spanish, and the Britain War, which established America's freedom, right? Let me sorry, I had to write it like that because right there. Now we can go to the Wikipedia if they pop it up, right? Yeah, they got it right there, right? But at the top, it shows you, it says, the 3 American wars involving Spain, Britain, and France, right? When we even go down and click the Wikipedia, the Spain and the American Revolutionary War, Spain through its alliance with France, and as part of its conflict with Britain, played a role in the independence of the United States. Spain declared war on Britain as an ally of France, itself an ally of the American colonies, right? You can go and do your research on this too, right? America came out of Britain, right? Which Britain really, I believe, is the 7th, and America that sprung out would be the 8th, right? And, like I said, I'm always taking my little notes to make sure, because I don't want to give false information. So let me see. Yeah, America came out of Britain, right? America came out of Britain. I'll really be writing. A lot of notes. Let's see. I'm gonna just read what I got right here in my notes. It says, America came out of Great Britain. Before America could be established, it went through a series of wars against certain of those horns, those powers, who is the three that fell before America, which we just read in Daniel the 7th chapter. We read in Daniel the 7th chapter, they got plucked up by the roots, right? French was one of the horns. French in the Indian War, 1754 to 1763, about 7-9 years. It says this is America breaking off and creating its independence. This is what America had to go through to make their independence. America plays a big part in future prophecy. The little horn comes out of the other horns. The northern kingdom was helping Esau with the war, right? Because you got to know, when they even came over here, they was putting the northern kingdom under persecution. But even more, you got the Dawes Act. Then we had coons in our nation that even cleaved to them, right? But that's for another story. Each side being supported by various Native American tribes, Spain and Britain, right? The American Revolutionary War, what we just seen, simply known as the Revolutionary War in the U.S. or American War of Independence, secured American independence from Great Britain. Fighting began on April, let's just say the date, 1775, followed by the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Then you got another date, 1784, Spanish-American War, April 21st, 1889, probably to 1989. The Spanish-American War was a period of armed conflict between Spain and the United States, right? But when it comes to America or this horn, in those heads being blasphemy, you'll go into democracy, religion, idolatry, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, and murder, right? When you go to Nahum or Habakkuk, right, they build this foundation off of murder and lies, right? So back to Daniel 7, reading the part that's highlighted, 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, this horn were eyes like the eyes of men, and had a mouth speaking great things, right? And that's what America does. It speaks great things, and you have it from a president, a senate, right? The same thing that it was doing in the time of Rome, right? When you drop down to verse 20, it says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, right? Dropping down to verse 24, it says, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings, right? And when you really look, it's really the elites, right? Let me get a side precept, if I may. Let me look it up real quick. Sorry, family. Please see, my phone is tripping over here. And because it's not probably working, guys, I might have to take a rain check. Yeah. Sorry, family. I had it all set up, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me try again. If it don't work, Lord willing, later on, I'll probably get back in there again. I like to make sure the point is point for point. This is Numbers 24 and 20. Because I had spoke on of Esau, and at least being first. And then that just gave me a thought. So this is just a side precept, right? Because first and foremost, you have to know who really is the top dog out of Esau of today. And really, you can say, we can say white people all day on YouTube and in many places. But as soon as you say something about the Juju beings, the Jewish, you start getting flagged. Look at Kanye West. So they play a very important, biggest role of this nation. So this is Numbers chapter 24, and I'm going to read 18 to 20 in the KJV. It says, "And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city." And when he looked on Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. I'm gonna read verse 20 in that NLT. It says, "Then Balaam looked over towards the people of Amalek and delivered this message. Amalek was the greatest of nations, but its destiny is destruction," right? And I'll get this precept and I'll close. This is 2 Thessalonians we want. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. We're going to read verse 3 and 4 in the KJV. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and the Son of Man, Salaki, be revealed, in the son of perdition," right? The son of condemnation or destruction, which is the nation of Esau. Verse 4 is going to clear it up. "Who opposeth him and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God," right? So who made an image of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and said he is the power? Esau is the main one. A lot of nations really just made their own. The Lord put it on Esau to do that. Esau always try to put himself, like even when you look at Zeus, and they made, but even though you had Jake that started a lot of these false things because they was cleaving to the heathen, but Esau is the most wickedest one out of all of them. He is the top he's the top dog out of all these nations, right? And he's the one that's being revealed day by day. And it's just all by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, by allowing his children to grow in his truth. And Lord willing, we are of that number. Lord willing, you could continue. So, okay, guys, I'm tired. Lord willing, you are of that number. And again, this is for the hopeful elect. And Lord willing, they're preparing themselves because the biggest fall will happen. The biggest fall will happen. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakati Yawashai. And double honors to the elders, a great millstone who will well through the Spirit, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord, they can continue to endure and be sincere. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord willing, they can continue to endure and be sincere. And with that, shalom.